This is the Weather Xtreme video for Tuesday, July the 6th. And no, I'm not James Spann, but I am Brian Peters, and I'm filling in as James is on a special assignment down on the Gulf Coast. And you'll be seeing some posts from him on the blog. In the meantime, let's take a look at the skies over central Alabama, this beautiful shot of the sunrise with clear skies over Tuscaloosa. It is not clear where James is headed. As a matter of fact, it's raining down there along the Gulf Coast. This is the Gulf Shores sky cam looking west along the public beach. And you can see the low clouds, then the rain reflecting in the parking lot lights there. And there's a look real quick at the radar from Mobile, and certainly a bit of a rainy day for the Gulf Coast. But, of course, that rain is helping to keep temperatures down, too. The rain coming about because of a surface low that is in central Louisiana along the coastline. This almost, but not quite, became Bonnie. Very, very close there as the storm was intensifying, but it was a little bit too close to land, and the result was that it was not able to get its act together before coming ashore. In the upper atmosphere, we're still under a huge ridge that extends all the way from the northern Gulf all the way up to New England. And then you can see the little upper reflection of the low over the Louisiana coast. Temperatures across the eastern half of the country are just plain hot. When you look at 5 a.m. temperatures and they're in the 60s and 70s, wow, that's just plain hot. Across central Alabama, we're running in the lower and mid-70s for the most part, but a few spots, especially up there in the northeast, in the upper 60s, which I'm sure feels a little bit better. Dew points, however, have climbed, and unfortunately, we're now back around the 70-degree mark. QPF forecast, the ridge keeping things rather dry over a large section of the southeastern U.S., with most of the focus between the ridge in the west and the trough in the west and the ridge in the east, as well as the activity down along the Gulf Coast. Storm Prediction Center outlooking a small area for slight risk of severe in part of South Dakota, Nebraska, a little section of Colorado, and a small part of southeastern Wyoming. Tropics still remain somewhat active with two areas. The one we've already talked about, which is not doing much. And then we have this one over the Yucatan Peninsula, which is not expected to do much in the near future, that is for the next 24 to 48 hours. But if it does, and the models are grouped pretty well together, it looks like the northwestern Gulf of Mexico would be the main area to be affected. All right, here's the 06Z GFS model run, and as you might expect, much of the activity is off to our northwest, where it stays. Central Plains certainly getting pounded with a lot of rain. And then, of course, the tropical action down there in Louisiana that is keeping much of the Gulf Coast from northwest Florida all the way over to southeast Texas rather wet. The ridge is holding strong, as it will here for Wednesday and for much of the upcoming week. And that actually keeps us somewhat dry as the moisture rotates really around that ridge. By Thursday, not a lot of change, but we are seeing a pretty strong trough coming through southern Canada, and that strong trough should drag a cold front down through the Great Lakes and down into Oklahoma, which, of course, is going to bring more rain for the Central Plains states. That trough just doesn't have enough amplitude to really impact us that much. By Friday, the trough centered over in the vicinity of Chicago, and that drags the front down into the Ohio River Valley and down into Oklahoma and northern Arkansas. Saturday, that trough has moved off into New England and the mid-Atlantic coast, and that will drag the front down into Tennessee and perhaps even the Tennessee River Valley, which means we're going to see the possibility, and we can't rule out the possibility of a passing shower or two for any of the days, but for the most part, I think most of us will remain dry. Sunday, that one trough is off and another one is coming through as the westerlies stay well to our north, and that means another front coming down. But in the meantime, the front that's here is actually washing out. The next trough gets its act together, and this one showing signs of a little more amplitude. As you can see, it extends down into North Texas, actually, and that one also helping to produce a front across the Central Plains, which brings them Yes, more rain, which I'm sure they don't need on top of what they have. And this trough looks fairly strong, as you can see from the map on Tuesday. The upper air, this is a 500 millibar chart. And but in the meantime, we're still under pretty much of a ridge, and that does bring another front down into the Ohio River Valley and keeps us in scattered showers. So the bottom line is the best chance for rain coming as that front comes down into the area, primarily Saturday, I would say. And we'll have to watch the timing of that. Now, going out into Voodoo just a little bit further, this is July the 18th. And, okay, I know you're getting tired of hearing this, but there it is, a big ridge. And the only good thing about the ridge position, if this is correct, and of course we are dealing with Voodoo country, is that should help to dry out the Central Plains a little bit, perhaps with isolated showers at the most, but I'm sure they could use some drying out up there. Alrighty, well, that'll be the Weather Xtreme video for the day. James will be posting from the Gulf Coast, and I think he'll have the next blog video by tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I hope that you have a great Tuesday, and Godspeed.
Each day, there are new stories to tell about the people who live here and the place we call home.
All of the faces that I see, all of the places close to me, they're all part of all the best things about home.
Sharing your stories on ABC 3340, Alabama's news leader.